Welcome back. And if you missed out on those two phenomenal segments that we had, you can go back to our podcast a little bit later. But trust me, you really need to tap into it because it's so full of essence and it's going to help you in many a direction. Kasimji's story, and of course, we were speaking to Tilly Govender about soul nourishment. But talking about nourishment and uplifting people and changing people's lives for the better, we always tap into stories about the youth as well, because they are our future leaders and they are going to be playing an integral role in later in our lives. So why not entice them into doing something phenomenal and inculcate all those beautiful principles and values from a young age so they take it back with them into the future? And that's what we're looking at. But today we're going to be speaking to a gentleman who's doing really amazing work. Let me tell you a little bit about him. His name is Zaheer Moosa. He's been serving the community and adding value to people of all ages, especially the youth. He has completed his NLP practitioner training under the famous Jimmy Kariako. I hope I said it right, Kariako. Attended the 3-year practitioner training dealing with multiple facets in the NLP field of study in 2017 to 2020. He's currently heading up all youth events at the Light from Many Lamps, as well as doing life coaching sessions on weekends. So we're going to be chatting to him about the upcoming Youth Financial Literacy Workshop that's going to be held in light of Global Week, Money Week, that is, and how they're helping young people to better the version of themselves, which I think is absolutely phenomenal. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. A very warm welcome to the show, Zaheer.
Wa alaikum salam. Nice to meet you again, Nafeesa. And thank you for the opportunity and giving us the platform to speak about this crucial topic. Um, we're trying our best. Look, this is a very new center. You've actually interviewed our founder, Sadia Ghani.
That's
So
right.
since then, we've literally been working at a very fast pace. We want to keep it fresh and young, and
Mm.
because I wouldn't. I mean, I'm 33 years old, but I feel like I'm still a 20-year-old. So I relate more to the younger people. So I'm heading up all the youth events. We've had two successful events already in the past. We've actually done on the 12th of March a board games night where kids actually could come to the center and play physical board games. I mean, for example, when last have you seen kids playing chess or Monopoly or Ludo? So we're trying to involve the youth and get them away from being on their cell phones and their tablets the whole day. I don't think that's very healthy for them. It's not stimulating their brains, and we just we want them to interact with each other. Um, it's no use sitting in your room the whole day playing Call of Duty, for example, for 8 hours straight, and then not even eating your healthy meal. So the whole goal is to get the kids interactive, get them to meet people from different social backgrounds. They can learn stuff from each other. We've also done a human rights talk as well, where we're going to implement it to the kids as well. This one was for
Mm.
adults, but we want to do one for the kids as well because, I mean, all the adults know about human rights, they've lived through it. I think it's time that our kids learn our history. When I say our history, I mean, I was also a born free, but it's good that we pass these lessons on to the younger generation. Um,
Mm.
so for now, we've actually teamed up with an old friend of mine. We were neighbors in Johannesburg while we were studying.
Hmm.
His name is Zubair Varachia, and he works for the Visa Inc. company, and
Okay.
they going around and they're trying to obviously give lessons on financial literacy. So
Right.
the
So,
key
so
topic,
Zubair, before
yeah,
we go, I'm going to come in there. Before we even go into that, there was a crucial
yeah,
thing that you brought up, and this is
yeah,
what I want people to know why we're discussing this. A
yeah,
pertinent topic that you brought up, and I say time and again, as you were
Yeah.
saying, our youth are not interacting from a different
No.
perspective. We're not saying
No.
there's anything wrong with them being involved with technology. But when I
Yeah.
look at my family members around me,
Yeah.
I mean, my son's 25, but when I look at the
Yeah.
younger version of my family, my nieces and nephews and things like that, they're so
Yeah.
avidly involved with technology that the
Yeah.
outdoor features have been totally forgotten.
It's
And that outdoor
it's nothing.
feature actually teaches you something imperative, and which is
Exactly.
interacting. It teaches you communication. It teaches you interaction. It teaches you
100%.
listening. So I think the imperative thing that you're bringing up here, and what I love about you bringing up this concept, is the
Yeah.
fact that that's what you're going to be doing, is teaching them firstly. And a lot of the times what happens, each one of us are guilty of it. We're so involved with technology, so involved with holding on to that phone, that we forget that we need to listen. Many a
Yeah.
times we just hear and we don't listen. So what
And
it
we
does
keep
is
our phones next to us
exactly. So what
all
you're
the time.
doing through this interaction, besides what you're going to do, we're going to bring up the workshop soon. But
Yeah.
the essence of what you're doing is what I wanted to bring out, is the very fact that you're teaching people, young people, the imperative principles of what they can take through to be able to become
Push.
holistic, better human beings. And what
That's
is
the
that?
whole goal.
Interaction, communication, listening to each other, and of course,
Sportsmanship. Yeah.
exactly. And
Yeah.
creating that respect for each other, to be able to look at the value in each individual and saying, I value you for this particular aspect of yourself. Because as we know, as I was speaking to all my other guests earlier, self worth and valuing someone and valuing yourself is very important. And I think this is what this particular aspect of your coaching does. It's
No,
changing
for
the
sure.
perspective of the way youth are thinking going forward. And then, of course, teaching them the other principles that add on. And that's where Mr. Vracha comes in to say, you know what, let's teach them something else that's important in life.
Yeah.
So, first, we're teaching them the principles on how to look at
Exactly.
themselves, what to bring out the best version of themselves, as they say,
Yeah.
for you to be able to interact with them, discuss their potentials, their strengths, and what it means for them to find the strengths in themselves and make them
For sure.
understand that they can overcome their weaknesses. And each one of us has a weakness, so we can learn from each other.
Definitely.
So I think
Definitely.
that's the holistic version of what
Yeah.
the Light from Many Lamps is doing as far as the youth is concerned, and what you are doing from the perspective of what youth is concerned. Now
I
let's tap
appreciate what you're
into.
saying there. Yeah.
Thank you. And I think it was imperative to bring that out because light from many lamps, the word and what it stands for says many a things. Is
Exactly.
You take people literally from their darknesses and create that light within themselves. They find the light within themselves, and I
You're
think that's
summarizing it in such a good way. I'm so impressed. Thanks, Nafisa.
You're only welcome. And the thing is, because I look at my guests and I research you, and I see what you do, and I think I value the value that you give back to communities, because this is what the
Thank you.
show is about, is being able to showcase people like yourself and say, there's people out there like yourselves that are making many a differences. But we have not realized how imperative it is to be able to give back to the youth.
100%, 100%. And just one more thing on that games night. It was so inspiring to see that kids, when they actually got to the event, um, they were so stuck in their shells. But after 5, 10 minutes of interacting with the other kids, they didn't want to leave the event. Parents kept telling me, like, you know what, can we take our kids home now? They just didn't want to leave. So I found that so inspiring. So I was like, next time, let's do it for a longer period of time. Like I said, it was our first trial event. Alhamdulillah, it
Mhm.
went very well. We had a nice group of sponsors. We had a lot of volunteers. So, inshallah, we have much more planned. We also have a couple of Ramadan events planned. Um,
Okay.
we're gonna be doing. There's many more. I don't know if you want to talk about the financial side first or about our
Yeah,
future
let's
events first.
let's let's just first tap into what we're going to do with Zaheer Moosa. Zair
Yeah,
Musa, talk to us about what we're going to do with with Zubair Varacha and Visa.
Zubair.
Let's talk
Yeah,
about that. I think that's imperative. Parents should get involved in this because this is a
yeah,
topic that discusses something that's going to affect your entire life, apart from
for
the other
sure,
principles we discussed earlier. So let's
for
go
sure.
into it. Talk to us about the youth workshop dealing with financial literacy, hosted by, of course, yourself, and the guest speaker is Zubair Varacha. Let's
Yeah.
tap into that.
So he comes from the visa company. 1 minute. He comes from the visa company, and what they've actually done is they've created a very cool concept where they including Marvel superheroes. So, for example, they will have like Spider-Man showing something relating to budgeting. They will show Iron Man making good investments. So kids relate a lot to superheroes, and Marvel is like the in thing right now. So they're trying to get the kids interactive with all these superheroes making good financial decisions. Um, the topics we're going to be covering are budgeting, saving, how to set your life onto a path of financial fitness. Also, in terms of how to manage credit or actually try and stay away from credit. Look, it's very difficult for people to stay away from credit, but we are able to manage our credit. Um, there's going to be topics covered such as fundamental money management concepts,
Hmm.
and we're going to be doing that in an entertaining and engaging way. So it's going to be like a interactive thing. We're going to get kids involved to come up, ask questions. Look, there's nothing like a silly question. So we always appreciate people asking questions, no matter it be adults or kids. We value questions because you get your answers from asking questions. Um, and then another topic we're going to be doing is the importance of saving and starting to save from a very young age. Look, a lot of people only start realizing that they need to start saving later on in life,
Mm.
and then they try to play catch up, and then you put yourself under stress and duress because you start cutting expenses here, start cutting costings here, and you start looking for alternate means of getting income. So we want to teach kids that they need to start saving now. Now
Mm.
is the time to start saving. Now is the time to start learning all of these financial concepts. It's not for adults only. Kids need to know these. I actually wish that we had these sort of opportunities in school because
Mm.
in this is something that can be taught on a Friday afternoon, for example. The teachers can do this. I mean, it's a very short. It's a very short. What do I call it? A very short speech or lecture, but
Mm.
kids in schools. So we're also trying to tackle schools as well. So I've got two schools on the line. I have a
Hmm.
school in Auckland Park, Johannesburg, that's interested in taking part in this event. And remember, this is a free event. It's all
Right.
community service. So a lot of the parents are phoning me and asking me, how much do I have to pay for my kids? And I keep telling them, you know what, this is community work. We're not
Mm.
charging anyone. We just want to enrich the community. Then we have another school in Erasmia as well that's
Mm.
interested. We just want to set up a proper time and date and coordinate everyone well. Um, so everything will be done from the Light from Many Lambs Counseling Center, and then we'll team up with multiple various financial organizations. For now, Zubair Varachia from the Visa company has given us his full commitment. Um, I hope
Mm.
we can build a strong relationship with them and carry this on into the future. Because as you've seen, Global Financial Week is only a 1 week period, but I would like to stretch it out longer. Maybe make a Global Financial Month, for example, where we
Right.
can visit
Z-
various areas.
I agree with you. Zaire, let me come in there.
Yeah,
Maybe what an idea would be is, to discuss with the educational department if this could be integrated into their life skills subject.
exactly,
Because if you look at their life skills, it's about life skills is about creating this holistic person. And I think
for
many a
sure.
times we as parents are guilty of looking at a life skill subject and think, it's just life skills, it's not
Yeah.
anything important. But
Nothing major,
under,
exactly.
underestimating the importance of that particular subject and why it has been inculcated into the curriculum is to be able to create those holistic individuals that go out there in an all-rounded way where they themselves are going to learn a little bit about everything. So we're bridging the
100%.
gap when they enter the should we say post tertiary environment. They are skills ready with a little bit of everything, and that's what we're saying is important. I'm sure
Exactly.
you'll agree with me with that. But let's go
I
for a quick
100%.
break. Let's just go
No
for a quick
problem.
break. We'll be back with you in a second.
100%.
In Syria or orphanages in Yemen, the eyes of the needy speak volumes with just one glare. We know what it's like to be at ground zero with food essentials, clothing and blankets, fresh water portal trucks, and even on site navigators. We use every cent to better their tomorrow. Become part of our journey to bring relief to all. Go to www.ashrafulaid.org or call us on 011 809 8181. Ashraful Aid, under the auspices of Maulana Suhail Wadi.
Babu, why don't you loosen your belt a bit more?
But why now?
Well, it's very tight, blocking air to your brain.
Haju, this is only a start. I need to tighten up a bit more. Funds are tight and the cost of living is high.
Funds are not tight. It's your haram insurance which is tightening our barakat.
Okay, Haju. I will call my insurance friend tomorrow.
Maybe I must tighten up on my cooking from now on too.
No, Haju, we don't need to tighten up. It's okay. Look, I'm even throwing away my belt.
Don't tighten your belt. Change your insurance. Leaving Riba Insurance is easier than you think. Call Amana IFS for all your personal and commercial takaful needs. 0861 786 393. Amana. Leave Riba for good. Amana IFS is a registered financial services provider.
Thousands of Syrian Palestinian refugees and Lebanese children do not have access to education. Amman means safety and is a school that provides formal education from kindergarten to grade 9. Africa Muslims Agency aims to provide 650 children with education that will change the trajectory of their lives and their families' lives. Fulfill your intention by fulfilling their dreams. Donate 16,000 Rand per child or any amount. Go to africamuslimsagency.co.za or call us on 011 834 8685. Africa Muslims Agency, empowering, educating, inspiring.
Give charity without delay, for it stands in the way of calamities. For child-headed households in Bloemendal in the Eastern Cape, the daily diet consists of white bread and a carton of cheap juice or sugar water, known locally as the poppy water diet. Make a difference to that one child or family. The Al-Fida Foundation has over the past 13 years worked on the ground and gathered the largest database in the Eastern Cape region of Muslim zakah recipients. Phone our offices at 041 484 1288 or visit our website at www.alfida.co.za. The Al-Fida Foundation, your social investment partner in the Eastern Cape.
It's a new beginning. It's a new era. Salam Media, humanitarian journalism.
Welcome back, and you are tuned into the Mid Morning Show with myself, Nafeesa Dangor. And if you've missed out and you've just joined us, then we are in conversation with Brother Zaheer Moosa from the Light from Many Lamps, and we're talking about getting our young people financial savvy, but also through creating. They've got a youth workshop on financial literacy. As part of the Global Money Week, which I think is so important. And just before we left for the ad break, we were speaking about incorporating this into our life skills classes in school, which I think is imperative. So you're coming back on that point. I
Yes.
think it's so important to get our educational department, as I said, on a holistic level, not just going school to school, but to make them understand that this is what it's about. This is what life is about. Is being creating these holistic young individuals that go out there into the environment that are ready in every sphere of life in some way.
For
We're not
sure.
saying that they need to be perfect individuals, but it's kind of bridging that gap and preparing them for. I mean, a lot of the times we know that when young people, graduate or come out of matric, they're so lost, and it's people like
That's so
yourself
true.
that come in and give them the direction to say that these are the things that you can expect post tertiary education. So it kind of keeps them savvy and ready in some way. We're not saying the entire way, but it gives them
Yeah,
an inclination of where to start. And
for sure.
I think this is what Global Money Week is about, with yourself and Zubair Varacha. I think it's going to move many spaces, as far as youngsters are concerned. And you spoke about the most important point is saving, and I think it's to teach them that as well. Is to save. I think a lot of us are guilty of not doing that, but from young, if we get inculcated into that type of thing, it's amazing what it does, because you take those same values and principles with you throughout your life, irrespective of your age. And that's what we're trying to say is, if we teach them, I mean, I give my nieces and nephews little money boxes and say, even if you put in a 5 rand a day, imagine what you can do. And the other day,
At the
one
end
of
of the year.
exactly. You break that money
Yeah.
bank and imagine how much money you have. And I think we take it so much for granted that even if you just save a 10 rand a day, it
Yeah.
slowly adds up. And imagine what it does for you. So I think what we try to do from both these aspects, from the light from many lamps and from Zubair Varacha, is to create these holistic youth that go out there with a lot of skills with them, so that they're ready for life in some way. And I think that's what's important.
100%.
Yes. Well,
Yeah.
what do you think is the most important point people need to know about this collaboration between the two?
So, look, for example, it's surprising. I'm not even kidding, I've had about 10 different teachers from different schools asking me, how do we incorporate this into our school? And one of the things that came to me is that nowadays they have a subject called life orientation.
Yes.
Um, this will fit perfectly into the life orientation subject. It can, I don't see why it can't be added. For example, even doing taxes, we
Mm,
only learned it at a later stage in life. Um,
sure.
and the first time you got to do it, you were like so surprised. You were like, "Gosh, I have to pay so much to the government. Like, where did this come from?" So
Yes.
I think if we include taxes, if we include financial literacy, if we include saving into life orientation, it will fit in perfectly because what is the idea of life orientation? It's about life skills, and
Mm,
financial skills falls perfectly into that category. Um, Maybe we should take this higher. I love your suggestion of getting in touch with the Department of Education and giving this to them as a sort of syllabus. It doesn't have to be something so advanced, but it can at least give kids a sort of understanding or an opportunity to start learning about finances rather now than at a later stage. I mean, I don't know if you remember when you did your first tax submission. I remember I had a very strange experience because I was like, I had to keep all this information, I had to keep all of these slips, I had to fill out all of these documents. It was like totally new to me. I actually had to hire a tax consultant to help me do this. And if we can start teaching kids um, all of these tricks of the trade, if I may use that word, teaching them how to save at the earlier stage, they won't have these struggles that we went through. Because let me be honest with you, I called it a struggle because it was totally new to me, totally
mm,
new to me. And another concept that what us not I'm not a parent myself, but our parents would just give us money. They would say,
mm,
"Here's your allowance," or "Here's your spending money," but they wouldn't really advise you, or they wouldn't really tell you what to do with that with that spending
mm,
money.
mm.
We would just go and buy snacks and chocolates and food, and
Exactly.
so
Yeah.
it would be nice if parents could give an allowance, but also tell the kids, like, you know what, save 20% of that allowance, put it away, and it's going to come in hand. It's definitely going to come in handy on a rainy day. You never know
True.
what might happen. Look what
Yes.
happened in COVID. people were tapping
Exactly.
into their finances. People are looking for loans.
Mm.
But the people who had savings were actually quite comfortable.
That is true. But Zaheer, we
Yeah.
seem to be running out of time. Jazakallah so much for joining us. I think you've
No, no
shed
problem.
important light on the matter of us having to create holistic youth out there. And this
Yeah.
particular subject is as imperative as many of
Yeah.
the others. So we want to thank you so much
No problem.
from your perspective,
Thank
Zubair's
you.
perspective, and the light from many lamps for
And then
joining us.
just before we end, I just want to mention that we are going to be having three events in Ramadan as well at the
Okay,
center. So I will send you some more information about that to your
we'd
producer.
appreciate that.
I'll send you that because we found that there's kids are just chilling at the garage after Taraweeh till the early hours of the
Exactly.
morning. So we want to open our center, create a safe space. Kids can come and play there. Kids can come and have a braai there, iftar, zikr. So there's a lot more happening in the upcoming month of Ramadan.
I'm sure we'll catch up with you with regard to that during the month of Ramadan. Jazakallah so much for joining
Inshallah.
us.
No problem.
Um,
Thanks for having
all,
me.
all the best to yourself and the collaboration that you're doing with everybody.
Thank you.
We wish you
Thank
the
you.
best, and inshallah, I'm hoping this will help the youth in many directions. So
Amin. Amin.
thank you for inspiring our youth this morning. Jazakallah. Take
Thank
care.
you.
Assalamu
Thank you,
alaikum.
Nafisa. Take care. Walaikum salam. Bye.
Zaheer Moosa from the Light from Many Lamps talking about how to get our kids financially savvy and creating those holistic individuals. So follow that podcast if you missed out. We're going to go for a quick break. Stay with us. We'll be back with a phenomenal young woman